Why can't Canadians afford homes? Canada's housing crisis explained in 3 minutes. We see Canada has more homes for sale currently. Interest rates have dropped from historically highs, and right now they are sitting at sub 4%, which is in line for the last 20 years. So, why are still housing more affordable? If you think lowering interest rates will magically fix Canada's housing crisis, think again. The real problem runs much deeper. And here is what every Canadian should understand what is happening behind the scenes. 89% of Canada's land is crown owned provincially and federally, meaning there's only remaining 11% land in Canada which is privately owned. And another surprising fact is 90% Canadians they live within 100 miles from US, meaning 160 kilometers from US border. And out of those 90% people, 66% Canadians they live within 62 miles or 100 kilometers from US border. There's multitude of reasons. The number one is milder climates, trade and water accessibility, and obviously geography, because the north of Canada is all wilderness, is all wetlands, it is all rocky terrain, you can't build it, so it is inhabitable. So coming to the point, number one, housing in Canada has two problems. First, most people think it is just expensive homes. No, it is land ownership. Canada is dealing currently with both a housing supply shortage for the right kind of property which people want to buy. Second is affordability crisis. Experts often agree on one thing, that we simply haven't built enough homes to keep up with the increasing population growth for the last 10 years. And the homes we do have are become far too expensive for average families. Second is homes are very expensive relative to your income. So we have a big income to price disconnect. Over past 15 years, property values and rent prices grew far faster than average wage gains. Down payment barrier is the other one. 10 years ago, if somebody is doing 20% down on a house, it takes roughly like 5 years for them to save for it. But today it takes closer to 14 years, and a lot of people are trapped, especially the first time buyers. They are trapped now in the rental market. So historically, a healthy housing market has a price to income ratio of 3 to 4 times your household annual income. Right now, if you look in Canada, Vancouver has income to price ratio of 12 to 14 times. Toronto has 11 to 12 times your income. So that is how much income you need to purchase your property. Hamilton in Ontario need 8.6 times your income. Calgary has income to price 4.9 times. Edmonton has 4.3. And if I see Ontario TerraNet data, they said median age of first time buyer was 36 years in 2014. Currently in 2025, last year, the average age nationally was close to 40 years for the first time buyers. In most major Ontario and BC cities, home cost well over 6 times your average household income. Even with the lowest interest rates, many buyers still can't qualify for a mortgage because wages simply haven't kept pace with the housing cost. Point number three, we have more listings, but buyers are still waiting. There's multitude of reasons. The first is high carrying cost. Here is something surprising. Inventory has been rising across many markets in Canada for last 48 months. Normally that should cool down the prices, but buyers are hitting a pause button. Why? Number one, cost of living pressures, high monthly mortgage payments, tougher mortgage qualification rules, especially stress test is still there. And some people fear that prices could further fall. And then we have a mortgage renewal wall. Millions of people who got their houses through ultra low rates during 2020, 2021, now they face renewal at a high prevailing rates. 4% and closer to that, which is significantly tightening their household budgets and locking the existing inventory, because if they are in negative equity, or they are tight, they can't upgrade or buy another house. So many buyers are simply waiting for better affordability before making one of the biggest financial decisions of their life. And there's a lot of priced of buyers which are trapped in the rental market. And number four now is, why are we not building fast enough? Because if you study data put by CMHC, which is Canadian Mortgage House Corporation, it has shown that we have falling housing starts. So if you see rental buildings in last 2 years, the graph is going like this. But if you see single family homes which people need, that is pretty much down a lot. I remember 20 plus years ago when I started selling real estate, it was 60-40. 60% were single family homes, 40% were buildings. Now I can say 80% they are making is all buildings, and some condominiums are really small, plus 20-25% are single family homes. So ratios have turned around. So the biggest challenge is, even though in Ontario we desperately need housing, builders face major challenges. First is weak pre-construction sales over the last 48 months or so, or last 3 years. Tighter financing conditions for the builders, that's another thing. Plus we have slower municipal approvals, we have rising construction cost, we have high development charges, then we have material tariffs. So development becomes riskier for the builders. And obviously the last big one is restrictive zoning. Lot of municipalities, they don't allow zoning to open up so you can build 4plexes or 6plexes. So many projects simply don't make any financial sense, especially condos. Above factors have forced many builders to step back, stall, or cancel the new projects altogether. This means fewer new homes entering the market in next 3 to 4 years. Number 5, economy matters a lot. Soft labor market, slower economic growth, high unemployment rate, inflation, and broader economic uncertainty means buyers' confidence is remaining low, keeping sales low if I compare historical averages for the last 10 years. Uncertainty, slow hiring, economic concerns, and trade uncertainty. All of this put people in fear. And when people worry about jobs or future income, they delay buying homes. Confidence is just as important, folks, as interest rates. So in a nutshell, in conclusion, the bottom line is lower interest rate, which many are waiting, alone won't solve Canadian housing crisis. Long-term affordability requires building significantly more homes, faster site approvals from the city or municipalities, lower developmental cost, more family size, and diverse housing options. Until supply catches up with the demand, affordability will remain one of the Canada's biggest economic challenges. So what do you think is the biggest reason our homes still remain unaffordable in Canada? Let me know in comments. Follow me for more Canadian real estate insight and housing market updates. My name is Singh. I'm broker owner with Fortune 2 Realty. If you are looking to buy anywhere in Greater Toronto area, Southwestern Ontario, give me a call. Thanks for watching.